A plan?
Yep, I got a plan. There are stacks and stacks and stacks of rocks.
Like little towers, and we're gonna be building a rock tower.
Yeah, we're gonna be building a rock tower. I wanna build a house. Well, all right, so we build a foundation of family,
Build a tower that represents the family and that doesn't represent our relationship.
and we're gonna build
A home.
a home.
Can it be a little different maybe this time? Can we have it just be about us this time?
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, May 5th. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's nice and sunny here and I have my window open and I'm like feeling the breeze and it's like, oh, finally spring is here. I'm in t-shirts. I'm feeling like a vibe of like casual right now. So yeah, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're in a great mood. I hope you're ready for some, I don't know, tea, whatever. I'm just happy to have you here. We're going to talk about the sister wives, and I have a video coming up about the roll-offs. But obviously, before we start, let's talk about you should be subscribed to the channel if you haven't. And I know that you love this content. So if you would please subscribe to my channel and turn your notifications on, you'll never miss a video. And also make sure with every time you log in and you see one of those videos and you like it, give that video a like and really help this channel grow. I love hearing from you too, so make sure you leave me some comments. So today we're going to talk about Kody Brown. I feel like that's been like the current situation on this channel. Y'all, I have been going back and watching the seasons, and now I'm actually on season, I think 8 or 9. I can't remember. They are in the process currently of adopting the kids, Aurora, Brianna, and Dayton. And they're at the moment in this, I'm watching the episode last night, and they finally find out that David, her ex-husband, has signed off on his parental rights. And they go sit down with the kids and they tell Brianna, Dayton, and Aurora that that Kody was going to adopt them. And Brianna and Dayton's faces were like, and Aurora starts crying and Kody hugs her. So Brianna and Dayton were like kind of dumbfounded and maybe a little bit gobsmacked by it, but they did say that they were happy, but they definitely didn't look happy. And the dad apparently wasn't super thrilled about signing over his rights, but he did it because he felt like he had to, I guess. Either way, that's sort of where I've been at, and I'm looking at through everything through this lens of why did they need to adopt those kids? Why was the dad sort of forced to give up his parental rights? And why did Kody need to adopt them? I mean, he really didn't. There's stepchildren everywhere. And they kept saying, we need to have these kids. We need to have them, as though they were property. It was just, when I'm watching this whole back with the lens of, gosh, this is so messed up. Like, you're happy for them in one breath, but then you're kind of like, I didn't know kids were property. But Kody was like, I need these kids. And their whole thing was like, well, if Robin dies, then the kids disappear. And I understand that the kids would go back with their father, but why do they need to sever the relationship with the father? The kids seem to love their dad. Anyways, back to the story. So by season 8 or 9, I start to realize that the favoritism that's happening with Kody and Robin is starting to shift dramatically. Once Mary divorces Kody, everything sort of changed, and their whole dynamic shifted. And then even Christine and Cody's marriage starts crumbling. It's the same season that Kody and Christine go to Galveston, Texas with their therapist. And she's saying, I don't believe in the principle anymore. And she's saying, I don't know if I want to live this way anymore. And I'm just so jealous and I'm not happy. And there's an All About Christine episode where she talks about how jealous she is and how Even on the show, when she's saying that she's doing nice things for Robin, she's like, I'm still really hurt when I'm saying this. I'm really not there yet. I still had a lot of anger towards her here. And so you start to realize that like Christine was doing a lot for the cameras to go through the motions, but really the truth was she was miserable. And she couldn't hide it by season 8.
So when Robin came into the family, I was shocked at how many times she disagreed with you. I always just gave in. You wanted to do something, I just gave in. And didn't argue, didn't even formulate an opinion all the way. And it completely shocked me that you loved her even though she was just arguing with you.
So we're on season, I think, 15 or 16 now. So that's like, this was in 2015. So this was 7 years ago, Christine was ready to leave. Just when I'm going back in time watching the shows. So Cody's marriages sort of enter into a relationship crisis in this part of at the midpoint of the series. And it's interesting because Kody was recently on Cameo talking about his failed marriages. Apparently someone on Cameo wanted Kody to give him advice about marriage. So he said, if you string mine out next to each other, I've got nearly 100 years of experience in marriage. I haven't done so good with, though, a few failures here and there. The most important thing is communication. Force yourselves to communicate and talk about things that bug you. Talk about the things that are misunderstandings. If you don't communicate, your marriage can't survive. At least mine haven't. At least mine haven't. So he's admitting to multiple failed marriages, and he's admitting that communication is the problem with the marriages. Now, this is kind of interesting because just having watched the episode where Kody and Christine go to Texas for therapy, Kody does not listen to Christine about her concerns about their relationship, and instead he focuses on the family. Like when they're building a rock castle or a rock tower, he wants to build one based on family. Christine wants a tower that's just about themselves. Kody could not take Christine outside of could not individualize Christine outside of the context of the family. So when Christine was asking for her own unique moment with Kody, Kody couldn't even give that to her, and instead argued with her about what he wanted and what he needed. What I've watched over the years is during therapy, he does a really good job of using the hot buttons, like, I need to validate that experience, and they use these good therapeutic words that describe, their boundaries and their feelings. But Christine said that even speaking to him is not safe because she doesn't trust him. She doesn't trust that what she tells him won't be told to somebody else, or she doesn't trust that he will do the things in which he says. So if you have a relationship where you're constantly feeling let down and that you want something from someone and they can't give it to you, and then you see them giving it to somebody else and you're like, why can't I have what they have? How do you even live in that kind of environment? The wives admit that Kody doesn't like therapy because he feels like all of the wives are just putting all of their gripes on him, and there's 4 of them coming at him at all times. Whereas for the wives, it's one person and one gripe, but he's getting it from 4 different people. And so he doesn't want to hear it. He feels like everyone's coming down on him, and so why should he have to change anything? When you go back and watch this show through the lens of understanding that Kody is pretty narcissistic and that he rarely ever is empathetic and doesn't see their pain and doesn't validate what they're experiencing, and instead is all about himself and how the fact that he's stretched thin and he's spread out, you start to realize it's not even just about the communication, it's that, let's be honest, it is impossible for any one person to be committed to 4 people and have 18 kids. That is 22 people that are vying for your attention on a daily basis. That's a lot of people that you're never going to have enough time for. I have a son and a husband, and I feel like some days between work and taking care of him, my husband and I just can go moments with it where we're just like sort of passing in the night, and that happens in marriage when you're busy with child rearing. Imagine that times 4 of those having to deal with emotional relationships. Polygamy isn't just hard on women, it's hard on men because men have to navigate so many damn relationships. They're spread thin and they're all doing it for the calling because they think they're going to become gods in the next lifetime. Anyways, my other caveat here is Kody says that there's multiple failed marriages. Is he acknowledging that Mary is a failed marriage? I mean, she is. But does that mean that there's another failed marriage that we don't know about? Is Janelle considered a failed marriage? Is it more than just Christine and Mary? Who are these failed marriages that he's talking about? How many wives have left? The implication by failed would mean the relationship is over. So who else is gone? Or are they just there in body, but not in, they're there like occupying space, but they're not involved in a relationship? Who are the failures? Is it Mary and Christine? Because Mary would say that she's still there. So who's failed? I'd love to know. Did another relationship end that we don't know about yet? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Bye, guys.